Hello, welcome to my synastry love reading on synastry compatibility reading on Jeffree Star and his boyfriend Nate Schwandt, I think is how you say his last name. As you all know, Jeffree Star is a very famous YouTuber, internet celebrity, internet personality. He, has a very famous makeup brand and all those types of things, and he has his very, handsome boyfriend Nate, who he loves to show off. So I just want to, do a quick compatibility on these two and see, how compatible they truly are. All right. I love their relationship secretly, because it's nice to see a gay couple, be in love and be happy. Although I believe Nate doesn't identify as gay, but we'll get into that here in a second, hopefully. So let's just jump right into it. By the way, if you would like your own personal reading from me, if you would like an astrology birth chart reading from me, or a psychic tarot reading from me, then make sure you check out my website, lamarrtownsendtarot.com, okay? And you can purchase your reading directly from my website. As you can see, the menu's up here, so you can go to the store section. It'll take you to the store on my website where all, my offers are. You can go straight to the personal birth chart reading section where you can purchase a personal birth chart reading here. And I do also include love compatibility, love synastry birth chart readings as well. All right, so if you're interested in that, definitely check out my website. I also do psychic tarot readings as well. All right, so make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel as well if you aren't already subscribed. Hit that bell next to the subscribe button as well so you get a notification whenever I go live or upload a brand new video. This is my YouTube channel here. All right, so now let's get into the reading. All right, so looks like Jeffree Star was born on November 15th, 1985. Okay, interesting. So we have November 15th. Let's put 1985. Okay. So we don't know what time he was born. Oh, let me put his name actually. Jeffree Star. And I purposely didn't look at, the internet to see what time he's born because I just kind of want to do my own thing. I want to wing it and see what I come up with versus, or without looking at, what other websites and astrology, people have to say. So we're just going to do a noon chart for both of these two. And with certain placements, we're just going to have to pin them down. We'll do a transit just to see, to pinpoint certain placements. So it looks like Jeffree was born in Orange County, California. So let's do Orange County. By the way, if you're wondering which astrology software I'm using Astrologer XP. I'm really cheap. It is available actually on the Mac store. I have a MacBook. And yeah, so I really like it. It's really simple. So yeah, shout out to Astrologer XP. I actually keep in contact with the creator of it. I always ask him questions. I'm like, how do you do this? Can I do this? And he's very nice. He always answers them very kindly. He's a great person. So looks like Orange, California comes up, but I think Orange is a city in Orange County, so that counts. So we'll use that. Like I said, we're doing a noon chart. So Jeffree's chart is the core data here. So Jeffree's chart will show up here in the middle in the center, and we can verify that. He's born 11/15/1985, so he has to be either a Libra or Scorpio. Let's see. Scorpio, Sun in Scorpio. So like I said, Jeffree's chart is here in the center, and we will do Nate's chart here in the background with the background data, and this will be here, outside of the circle, the placements outside of the circle here. So I hope that makes sense. Jeffree's here in the center. Nate's out here on the outside, the outskirts, okay? And you can see it because the sun here is, Jeffree's sun is here in the center. Nate's will be out here. So let's put Nate's information in. I think I did that right. Nate was born on August 18th. 1993. Wow, I'm older than Nate. That's crazy. And like I said, we're going to do a noon chart for Nate. And basically, a noon chart is the placements of the planets, at noon, at the time or at the date that you were born. So it doesn't give us a perfect insight into certain placements. Like we're gonna have to do a transit for both of their moon signs because the moon changes zodiac signs so frequently. We may have to do a transit for their Venus, maybe, or their Mercury. But we'll get into that here in a second. So he was born August 18th, 1993. Doing a noon chart for him. Let's look and see where Nate was born. Oh, it looks like he was born in Michigan. I wish we had like maybe a city. Let's see if we can find like a city. Why doesn't it have a Wikipedia page? What's up with that? I thought he was famous. I thought famous people had Wikipedia pages. Just says Michigan. Okay, so I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what we get. We're gonna put in Michigan. Um. Okay, Nate, giving us space. Yeah, we're just gonna put in Michigan and see what comes up for Nate. Michigan doesn't come up. Midland, Michigan comes up. So what I do when I have this situation is I just, look up the um, capital of Michigan. I'm pretty sure I spelled capital wrong. Yeah. Lansing, Michigan. So I don't know if Nate is from Lansing, but hopefully he's, if not, he's close by. And Lansing, Michigan comes up, so that's good. So, all right, at least we're in Michigan when it comes to Nate. We may not have the exact place he was born, but that's not on the internet, so we don't know the exact place that he was born, unfortunately. So now let's get into the tea, y'all. So immediately we know that Jeffree's a Scorpio and Nate is a Leo. And I always say that Scorpio and Leo energy can always make a good relationship. One of the reasons is because these two they value loyalty in relationships. They value commitment. They value affection, and they value, attentiveness and things like that, especially Leo. So, it would be safe to say that Nate likes a lot of attention, maybe from Jeffree. Also, one thing with these two is that they can be easily jealous. All right, so it could be that maybe Jeffree can sometimes get jealous of Nate and the attention he receives. Nate can sometimes get jealous of Jeffree and the attention that he receives. But there's something about this I feel with these two that it kind of balances the relationship out in a way, that kind of jealousy or that kind of energy of yeah, people want me, but I want you. You're the one I want to go home with. So I think this is a very strong bond, just from the sun alone. Nate is very expressive. Leo is ruled by the sun. So the sun rules creativity, it rules expansion, it rules open-mindedness, it rules romance, all right, and romantic energy. So, they have that going as well. And, Scorpios can be very romantic. Scorpios ruled by Pluto. So Pluto rules sex, sexuality. It rules, the subconscious, the deeper, darker, hidden truths and things like that. Pluto also rules evolution, growth, and change and things like that. So I would venture to say that in a lot of ways, Jeffree is probably a rock for Nathan to lean on in a lot of times, and vice versa. I think sometimes Nate probably gives Jeffree the confidence boost he needs, or just the confidence overall that Jeffree, needs sometimes. And I was actually talking to my friend about this today. Shout out to House of Star. And we were talking about actually Jeffree and Nate, and which prompted me to do this synastry reading. We were just talking about how we both think that Jeffree gets a lot of confidence from being with Nate or from Nate in some way. So this makes a lot of sense. I didn't actually know I knew Jeffree was a Scorpio, but I didn't know what zodiac sign Nate was. So this makes a lot of sense. And I would definitely also say that, there's something about these two that probably initially attracted to one another, one another to each other. And I feel like it had something to do with style. For example, Leo tend to be very stylish, very self-expressive with how they dress themselves, how they look, types of people. And I don't know, maybe we can get a little bit into Nate's chart here a little bit more and see if he has like a darker vibe, because Scorpios tend to be attracted to that kind of darker, mysterious vibe, but Leos tend to be a little bit out there. They tend to be kind of, open books in certain ways. So I feel like that might be a little bit of an issue here, maybe where Jeffree's extremely private, very private type of person, and maybe, has to kind of keep Nate in check sometimes, or maybe had to, train Nate, no shade, or kind of, teach Nate the ropes in terms of keeping things private and not letting everyone know, certain secrets about their relationship and things like that. So definitely a close-knit bond between these two, I would say, just from the sun alone. Now, the moon signs we're going to have to do transits for, okay? So let's go ahead and try to figure out what Nate's moon sign is first, and then we'll look at Jeffree's, okay? So here at 12 noon on August 18th, 1993, it looks like the moon was in Virgo. So we're going to do 6 hours ahead and see if the moon is still in Virgo. The moon is still in Virgo at 6 p.m. on the day that Nate was born. Let's go 6 more hours ahead to the next day that Nate was born and see the moon's still in Virgo. So, okay, great. So let's go back to 12 p.m. and let's go 6 hours behind 12 p.m. So let's do 6 a.m. and see the moon's still in Virgo. Great. 12 a.m. The moon's still in Virgo. So it's safe to say that Nate's moon is in Virgo. I just did a transit and basically confirmed that Nate's moon is in Virgo. So Nate is a Leo sun and Virgo moon. Oh, so Nate is shy, you guys, having his moon in Virgo. That means he's a shy one, okay? Definitely shy, especially when it comes to expressing his emotions and expressing his feelings. Because this is the moon sign, right? So the moon is, our emotional instincts, our emotional reactions, how we deal with our emotions, how we express our emotions, right? Also relates to the relationship to the mother and the family. So one thing about Virgo energy is that, Virgo energy can be very, very critical. So it could be maybe that Nate has a critical mother or a critical family. I would venture to say that there's something about Jeffree and Nate where possibly Jeffree, and I know maybe, this kind of relates to, maybe why Jeffree or Nate still considers himself straight. Maybe this is something that he kind of like has to like still come to terms with, but I feel like there's something about, this relationship where maybe Jeffree kind of helped Nate to kind of come into himself in a way and kind of figure himself out with having Moon in Virgo, especially with dealing with his emotions and dealing with, certain things. Moon in Virgo people, Moon in an Earth sign in general, maybe not so much Moon in Taurus, but Moon in Capricorn and Virgo especially, tend to have trouble dealing with their emotions. They tend to have trouble expressing their emotions sometimes. So it's good, I think, Jeffree's probably really patient with Nate, so that's a good thing. I also think that, with Nate having Moon in Virgo, he's extremely perceptive. Very, very perceptive. Can easily read between the lines of a situation or person. Very, very perceptive, very observant. So I'm actually wondering what exactly happened with James Charles that made Nate ban James from Jeffree and theirs home. Wondering if maybe Nate saw something, heard something he didn't like with Moon in Virgo there. He didn't like what he heard. He read between the lines. I don't know. I'm just reading his chart, y'all. But with him having Moon in Virgo, this tells me that he's very shy, but he's also an extremely, business-minded type of person. All about his coin, all about, creating structure in his life and improving himself and, not staying the same. Like I said, he can be very reserved and shy, so I think there's a reason why we don't know a lot about Nate, or maybe I don't know a lot about Nate. Like I said, I like Jeffree Star, despite certain things maybe that has gone on in the past with him. We won't get into that, or maybe we will, alright? But, I think there's a reason why we don't know a lot about Nate, and I thought at first it was because Jeffree just wanted to protect his relationship and protect Nate. And maybe that's still, a viable, explanation. But I think Nate's just a private person as well with his Moon in Virgo. So it makes sense. Okay, so now let's do a quick transit and see where Jeffree's moon is. So it looks like At 12 p.m., 12 noon on November 15th, 1985, the moon was in Capricorn. And if Jeffree's moon is in Capricorn, this makes so much freaking sense. So let's do a transit and go 6 hours ahead um, to 6 p.m. and see where the moon is. Oops, forgot to change it over here. Let's go to core. So now it's just going to go to Jeffree's chart and change his chart, but it's going to transit his chart. So let's go 6 hours ahead for Jeffree to 6 p.m. on the day he was born. Moon still in Capricorn, okay. Let's go to 12 a.m. the next day. See if there's anything changing. Moon still in Capricorn, okay. So let's go 6 hours behind to 6 a.m. and see where the moon was at 6 a.m. when he was born. Capricorn. Okay, it's safe to say maybe Jeffree's the moon in Capricorn. Wow. Where's that moon? Oh, Jeffree is a moon in Capricorn. We just did a transit and confirmed it. Very, very interesting. Why am I surprised? But I'm not surprised because he has such a way of like having like a deadpan way of expressing emotion, so it makes a lot of sense, and the kind of like just his aesthetic overall, it just gives me like Scorpio yet kind of pessimistic a little bit vibes. No shade. But so Jeffree's moon is in Capricorn and Nate's moon is in Virgo. So this actually is a pretty good compatibility here. Both have earth signs, so both kind of understand each other's way of expressing themselves and discussing their emotions and dealing with their emotions. Jeffree may be a workaholic as well, just as much as Nate. Um, Obviously, I think though Jeffree, with his moon being in Capricorn, is further ahead of Nate in terms of understanding, who he is when it comes to business and knowing what he wants to do. But I think with his moon in Capricorn, Jeffree was pushed to that point. I think Jeffree kind of had no choice. I think with moon in Capricorn, it can be that, I find that sometimes people have moon in Capricorn because, once again, remember, this relates to the family and the home, the mother. The mother either acted more like a father in certain ways, or the mother had to play both the role of the mother and the father with people who have moon in Capricorn. Um, so that can also, depending on the relationship to the mother, can create some emotional discord in moon and Capricorn people. So, and especially also the relationship to the family. So I'm wondering if Jeffree is close to his family. I feel like Nate is pretty close to his family. Leos tend to be very family oriented people. Moon and Virgos as well, all right, because Virgos ruled by Mercury, and Mercury, kind of rules cousins and aunts and uncles and things like that, and siblings. So, but back to Jeffree, with him having Moon in Capricorn, I'm wondering if he's close to his family, and if he's not, then Nate's kind of all Jeffree has. So it's no wonder that Jeffree's so protective of his relationship with Nate, and wants to keep it so sacred. Because that is maybe in a lot of ways his family. And I actually appreciate that. I love that. Now, with having Moon in Capricorn, Jeffree can be a little bit controlling, possibly in relationships. Can be a very dictatorial. It's what I say. I have the last say. What I say goes, kind of thing. So that can sometimes, create rifts between these two. These two can also have strong silent treatment, vibes. All right, when they're angry, maybe they kind of turn silent. They turn cold, kind of thing. So this can show issues with conflict resolution, possibly at times. Especially with having Moon in Capricorn. Moon in Capricorn is always going to want the last say, is always going to want the upper hand, is all, you know what I'm saying? So Moon in Capricorn is all about that control factor, and Moon in Virgo people are just so critical of everything and so judgmental and questioning everything, so I think maybe when these two fight or argue or have moments of not seeing eye to eye, it can get really ugly and messy sometimes. Just judging from the moon signs alone. Let's look at their Venus. That's the most important one when it comes to a love synastry chart. So it looks like at 12 p.m., Jeffree's Venus is in Scorpio. Still in Scorpio. Still in Scorpio. Still in Scorpio. Jeffree is a Venus in Scorpio. That makes so much sense. Jeffree definitely needs depth in relationships. He needs honesty. He needs trust. He likes to totally, envelop his partner. He likes to kind of like, how do I say this? Possess his partner. Jeffree can be a little bit possessive in relationships. Maybe not wanting Nate to go certain places and, always wanting to check in on him and, that kind of thing, with that Venus and Scorpio vibe. Jeffree can be very sexual as well, and we can see that through his YouTube channel, his videos, but I think behind the scenes with Nate, he can, be very experimental, maybe, as well. So very, very interesting. Jeffree is a deep lover. He loves with all of his heart. So, it's no wonder that he values his relationship with Nate so much. Let's look and see what Nate's Venus is in. Venus in Cancer. Okay. Venus still in Cancer. Venus still in Cancer. Oh, might be. Yeah, let's go 6 hours ahead on Nate's chart. Oh, is Nate a Venus in Cancer? That's cute. That means that Nate is a sensitive lover. Nate likes to be nurtured in relationships. Could also be that Nate, wants a family eventually. Nate will want a family eventually with having Venus in Cancer. Cancer tends to be very family oriented people, and so do Leo. Leo energy. So I wonder if Jeffree would be open to that. If he were, it would have to be his own version of a family with that Venus and Scorpio energy, that Venus and Scorpio vibe. With Venus and Cancer people, well, first of all, Venus and Scorpio and Venus and Cancer can be a great compatibility. Both are water signs, so both understand how each other expresses love and likes love to be expressed to them. It's an emotional bond here when it comes to love and that kind of thing. So, and there's something special about these two where when they're in love, a different side of them comes out, but it's not a side that they share with everyone. All right. So, these two like a special kind of love, a special kind of lover, all right? And, I think maybe they found that in each other here, all right, in a lot of ways. I think this is actually pretty good compatibility. I don't really have anything bad to say. Of course there are some ups and downs, but, no relationship is perfect. So, just based from the Venus signs alone, it's really, really good compatibility. Um, both like, attachment, both like, being close, affection, emotional nurturing. They both value that in relationships. So but that's good compatibility. I really don't have anything bad to say about that. So let's just do a quick look at, the Mars placement. So let's go back to Jeffree's chart. And Jeffree, once again, oops, wrong. He was born on November 15th. Okay. So let's go back to 12 a.m. Mars is in Libra. 6 a.m. Mars is in Libra. 12 p.m. Mars is in Libra. 6 p.m. Mars is still in Libra. So Jeffree's Mars is in Libra. And let's look at Nate's chart. Nate was born on the 18th. Yes, 1993. So let's do. Okay. Nate. Oh, does Nate also have Mars in Libra? Oh, if they both have the same Mars, I'm done. Like, I don't need to look at anything else. Maybe the Mercury, but even that, like. Well, no, we should look at the Mercury because the Mercury actually is pretty important. And that'll be the last placement that we look at. They both have Mars in Libra, so their Mars are conjunct. That can be a really good thing. The bad thing about that is that they kind of act similar in a lot of ways. So they both can be very passive aggressive. They both can be very non-confrontational, so that can be an issue in the relationship. Because conflict needs to be resolved. Conflict needs to be addressed. Otherwise it's going to fester, and it's going to become a burden. So that's something you don't want in a relationship, and that's something that Libras can be prone to. I'm a moon in Libra, so Libra energy can be prone to avoiding conflict, avoiding problems, avoiding trouble, in order to keep things balanced and peaceful. But in the end, that's going to work against them. So. But overall, this is really good compatibility. They both have a deep understanding of one another. So, once again, I can't hate on that. Let's look really quickly now at the Venus, or no, I'm sorry, the Mercury. So, Mercury looks like Jeffree's Mercury is in Sagittarius, and if his Mercury is actually in Sagittarius, I would not be surprised. And we're both Mercury and Sagittarius sisters, if that's the case, because my Mercury is also in Sag. Let me just say right now that Mercury in Sagittarius, people can be very mouthy. For the good and bad, we can be very chatty people. So this tells me that Jeffree is very chatty. He does like to chat. He does like to talk. Um, but once again, he can maybe like to push certain buttons. He may like to debate. He may like to argue a little bit. Definitely funny, all right, lighthearted, has a very unique way of looking at the world, and very very creative. Can come up with an idea at the drop of a hat, right, at the drop of a dime. So let's see where Nate's Mercury is in. Okay, looks like Nate's Mercury might be in Leo. They both have Mercury in fire signs. I'm done, y'all. Like, I literally don't need to look at anything else at that point. So it looks like Nate's Mercury is in Leo, which tells me that Nate has a very confident way of expressing himself. When Nate speaks, people listen. I feel like when Nate speaks, Jeffree listens. I feel like Jeffree is the type of person who may like to challenge Nate, but he knows that when Nate has something to say, it is something of importance. It's something that he should listen to. Um, I also feel like Nate has a very matter of fact way of speaking as well with his Mercury and Leo. Nate can also be equally as funny, so I think they can have this thing maybe where they have inside jokes, or just have similar sense of humor. Nate could be a great storyteller, and I feel like Jeffree might be the type of person who adds certain touches and maybe certain like that. Uh, how do I say this? It's like Nate is the one telling the story, and Jeffree is the one adding the pizzazz to the story, adding the drama to the story, maybe, right? But they together, these two, are great storytellers. So, I wonder how that translates to how they work together in terms of business and creativity and art. I think they could actually make some amazing, creative things together if they, put their minds together and they, I would love to look at their house as well with the, both of these Mercury signs. I wonder how both of their styles blend together. But overall, y'all, this is a really, really good, synastry here. It's a really, really good relationship. I don't really see any bad placements. So, um, they both come from the same, Pluto generation. So once again, they have a deep understanding of one another. They're both Pluto and Scorpio. I mean, you guys, I have nothing bad to say about this relationship. I would be sad if this relationship ends, So I wish it the best. Thank you for allowing me to read, Nate and Jeffree. Thank you for listening and watching. And remember, if you would like a reading from me, check out my website, lamarrtownsendtarot.com. And you'll get a reading pretty much just like this. I'll read every one of your placements. If you're getting a synastry reading, I'll, compare the synastry between you and someone else. And also, of course, just make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Alright? Until next time, love and light.